Well, he's obviously scored in the Champions League. He was unlucky with one that he was disallowed as well against Lazio. So he looks a real bargain buy, and I think that Rangers were interested in him as well at the time. So I think it's a double whammy for them. I think they were definitely interested in Louis Palmer, but they obviously went in a different direction. And for the Rangers supporters looking at how well he's doing, they'll be thinking that they missed a trick not getting him.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, 3-0 to Celtic. This is what Brendan Rodgers had to say after the game, because clearly it looked as if it was going to be a stuffy game until James Brown was sent off. Don't think we'll get any argument with that, but Brendan Rodgers says it's difficult when they get a man sent off early, believe it or not, because it means it's attack against defence. But we had some really good opportunities before we took the lead. Louis Palmer has a big quality. It's a brilliant strike. He has that technical quality and the confidence to shoot, and it was a superb goal. If you get the chance to see it, it was an absolute belter. Of course, do you no argument with the sending off? I don't think too many people will look at that. What about the goals? Liam Scales had one chalked off. Some people thought pretty soft with the challenge that goes on week in, week out, always penalised. O himself had a disallowed goal offside, and boy, that was narrow. And in the end, David Turnbull eventually managed to settle the nerves.
Yeah, the first one with Scales, I thought it was soft, Peter. I think he just goes up to challenge. I think it was challenged. Was it Jordan White? It was just two players challenging for the ball. It's broke to Scales, who's finished it nicely. But I think once he gives it as a foul, it's not a clear and obvious error to overturn it. I think if he'd have gave the goal, then it would have stood, because again, the reverse of that. So, no, I thought that could have been a goal. It was probably marginally just about offside. But again, Celtic had so many chances. Listen, it was 3-0 going on 5 or 6, and when you look at it, Brendan saying that it makes it more difficult. I don't understand that as a manager or a player. You've got a great advantage when you go against 10 men. They're going to sit deep, obviously, but eventually you usually break them down.
Yeah, and that indeed proved to be the case. Malky Mackay obviously disappointed because they've been playing well, but even he's first to concede. The first goal killed them.
I thought come half time, I thought we had weathered the storm, and to lose the goal at 6 minutes and 6 seconds, which is surprising and interesting. It was a bit of a sickener. It was great strike, clearly, and the only place he could have put it went through. Jan went over to block him through his legs and round at the far corner, and the only place that the goalkeeper couldn't get to. So that gave us a mountain to climb.
Yeah, I think Malky, from his own point of view, will look at the way they've been playing over the last few weeks. They were always going to, I think Jordan White was the first man to be sacrificed. It's your worst nightmare. You get a player sent off, you're looking to make an impression against a big side, and you have to get the hook. He took it well, understanding what the manager was facing.
Yeah, it's never nice as a striker. It's usually a striker, Peter, as you say, that gets sacrificed. It's happened to me a couple of times with a man sent off. Usually a striker comes off and you maybe go 4-4-1 and try and defend. So, no, listen, that was a big turning point in the game. And, there's nothing you can do as a player. You've just got to take your medicine. You can't come off and moan at the manager. You've just got to take it. He's got to pull somebody off and put another defender on, or midfielder. So, unfortunately for Jordan, who scored a great goal during the week against Hibs, it was his turn to get pulled.
Yeah, absolutely. To be perfectly honest with you, you can moan at the manager. You could actually get down, as most players do.
Why did you take me off, take him off?
No, even better than that. They get the water bottle and they go, and belt it down there as if to say it's an absolute nightmare. Why me? Surely that other guy, as you rightly pointed out there. But of course, I think a lot of people mentioned, George Laurie says, what a difference at today's Celtic game. No IRA chance, no sectarian chance, just real Celtic fans enjoying the game. George, I think you're a little wide of the mark there, because our reporter Alison highlighting that there were some unsavoury chants, certainly for a long, substantial part of that game, before eventually I think one Celtic song broke out. I think a lot of people will be looking at that in the away support for that match. But nevertheless, it sets Celtic up nicely now on the pitch, when people who actually go to the game to support the team will be happy. It's a 3-0 win. It gives them an advantage over Rangers in the league, and because Rangers won't be in Premiership action because of the Viaplay League Cup semi-finals, and it also puts Celtic in a good position going into the match against Atletico. Atletico, of course, lost to Las Palmas on Friday, but they've got a good bit of preparation in time for Tuesday's game.
Yeah, listen, it's going to be a very, very difficult game for Celtic. You know, traditionally away from home, it's been difficult for Celtic or Rangers, for that matter, to win away from home or pick up points. Nobody will give them a chance. I think Atletico will be heavy favourites, but he kind of used his squad wisely today. You know, he made a lot of changes, obviously, at the start of the game. And then on the hour mark, he put 3 on and took 3 off. So he's tried to, give different players some game time, which he's managed to do today. So all he'll be looking for is a clean bill of health tomorrow morning. Everybody fit for that game in Spain, and then he'll go with his strongest team and try and get some sort of result.
Yeah, I can't see them getting anything.
No, Peter, I think Atletico were too strong. I know they lost at the weekend, but they showed in patches, particularly in the second half at Celtic Park, that they're a quality outfit, and I don't think Celtic have got the personnel to go over there and perform a smash and grab. I think Brendan will, I'm not saying be open and have a go, but he's not one to sit in a low block. I think he'll try and get at Atletico, and that could lead to gaps in the Celtic defence.
Yeah, I quite like it when you come up with your 21st century, the low block. Yeah, at times like that, at the Christmas party, we'll probably take you outside and leather you for some of the lines that you've come out with.
That be Lenny, he'll be raging.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, because he's
sitting deep. You mean?
Yeah, in the transition. That's another classic we haven't heard for a while. So Ross County 0, Celtic 3. Elsewhere, Kilmarnock 0, Motherwell 0, as you heard from Patrick Mullen. In the Championship, it's Arbroath 0, Partick Thistle 1, Ayr United 2, Queen's Park 0, Dundee United and Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0-0. Quite emotional there for Big Duncan going back to Tannadice. Yeah,
it will be. Listen, he came through the ranks there and got a record move, a record fee for Dundee United. Was it 4 million to Rangers? So I obviously played under Jim McLean there. So a lot of memories for him going back to Tannadice, and he'll be looking to get some sort of result today, which would be a great result because Dundee United obviously are flying on top of the league. Yeah, absolutely. Wraith Rovers 1, Airdrieonians 0. That sums up what's happening in the Scottish Championship. As far as Scottish League 1 is concerned, Annan Athletic 1, Kelty Hearts 1, Cove Rangers 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Edinburgh City 1, Montrose 2, Queen of the South 1, Falkirk 1 and Stirling Albion 0, Alloa Athletic 1. And into League 2, Clyde 0, Spartans 2, Dumbarton 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Forfar and Stenhousemuir, it's 1-1 at half-time. Just about to go into the second half there. Peterhead 1, East Fife 0 and Stranraer 2, Elgin City 0. So that's how it looks. And of course, later on today, we've got to look forward to Hibs against Aberdeen. We'll be speaking to our man Adam Binney, hopefully very shortly, to get his thoughts on that match at Hampden Park. It's going to be an absolute cracker, and all to enjoy for both sets of fans, knowing they're one game away from a final. Yeah, I think it's always good when your Hibs or Aberdeen or Hearts when you're not playing against Old Firm. I think you're usually big underdogs against them, so a few of my mates are Hibs fans that are away at the game, and they see it as a 50-50 game. It's a real opportunity to get to a final. Aberdeen fans will be thinking the same, so let's hope it's a good game, good spectacle for Scottish football. Plenty of goals, plenty of entertainment, and probably the right team wins. But both managers will settle for a horrendous game of football just to win. Barry Robson spoke about it the other day. Semi-finals, nobody remembers whoever loses a semi-final. I know that because I lost a few. But I think if you get into the final as a Hibs and you're not playing a Celtic or an Aberdeen, then you've got a chance. It's funny you saying nobody ever remembers a semi-final. The one semi-final that constantly, especially here at PLZ, where we are reminded of a semi-final is Tam Cowan, because it always reminds everybody of Motherwell defeating Celtic 4-2 on the way to their final and the ultimate victory in one of the greatest Scottish Cup finals. Was that 91? Yeah, 91. Yeah, Motherwell beat Dundee United 4-3 in the final. Yeah, I remember watching that. I was only, I'd have been 10. I remember watching it on the TV, and it was strange for me to watch two teams that wasn't Celtic Rangers at that age. And yeah, Ali Maxwell, I remember him going up with the cracked ribs and all that. And there's a lot of memories from that, and obviously that's the last time Motherwell won a trophy, so obviously that's going to stick in Tam Cowan's mind. But yeah, that was one of, if not the best Scottish Cup final ever, I would think. Yeah, absolutely. But semi-finals, do you remember them? Can you remember one that sticks in your mind? Why not pop it into the comments section on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook? We'll be able to read it out. Great semi-finals. They're not often great, to be perfectly honest with you, but Tam certainly remembers Celtic losing 4-2 to Motherwell, and I think the memory I have of that night was Colin Neal hitting an absolute raker. Oh, what a goal it was. It was fantastic. Brentford 1, West Ham 2 from the English Premier League.
Burnley 0, Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1, Brighton 0, Manchester City 3, Bournemouth 0, and Sheffield United 0, Wolves 0. The small matter of Newcastle against Arsenal taking place at 5:30 tonight as well. So we've got quite a bit of football that we can enjoy slightly later on. Only one match of note in the Scottish Premiership. We'll keep you up to date with the lower leagues as well as what's happening down south too. And let's not forget, every now and then there's always big matches that we always talk about. Our dream game that we'd love to go to, maybe Copa Libertadores final, which is Boca Juniors against Fluminense. I don't think we can make it on a flight, and clearly some people would look rather funnily at the way you're dressed, so we wouldn't get in. But it's 8 o'clock tonight, and yeah, absolutely, it's 8 o'clock tonight. That could be, I mean, can you imagine that final in Argentina? It'd be brilliant.
I would think there'll not be a lot of goals, but I think there'll be about 20 yellow cards.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a kicking match, that Argentina against Brazil.
Yeah, just remember, by the way, that you could write on the back of a stamp Tam's knowledge of Argentinian football. He's just reverting to stereotypes there, but nevertheless, good to hear your thoughts on it. What a final it would be. It's one of my bucket list things to do, is try and get to one of those games. Boca against River Plate would be magnificent.
Yeah, big derby game in Argentina.
Yeah.
Boca Juniors pitch is probably the Bombonera, probably on everyone's bucket list, football fans. And
you can
I don't think it's changed since it's been built 100 years ago.
It'd be a great documentary for me, you and Ruffy to head out there, wouldn't it? Just to actually go and see it all.
It would be, aye. A couple of my friends went over in the summer there. Went to the game, Boca Juniors game, and said it was amazing, but they were fearing for their safety at one point because they thought the stand was going to fall down. It was like, you could hear it creaking and bouncing. And not a lot of people... They were going out at 1 and 2 in the morning. They said people don't go out at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
Is that right?
It was, by the time people were going out, they were going to their bed. They were drinking all day.
Yeah.
And then 10, 11 o'clock, they were going, oh, I've had enough. And they were going to bed and everybody was coming out.
To be fair, because we're taking Ruffy, I think we'd be in the area where we're having a starter, a main course and a sweet. I don't think we'd be standing in the bit where they're bouncing, Tam. If we are, we're getting our head kicked in. It's the only way to sum it up. Anyway, that's something, if you actually get the chance to view it, great. If you get the chance to go to it at times, it's one of those ones I'd love to go to. All the talk of managers coming in at various clubs, I noticed the former St Johnstone manager, Callum Davison's been linked with Bristol Rovers and their managerial vacancies. So clearly, I think Callum's waited...
Did Barton get the job today?
Yep. So I think he's waited enough time just to heal the wounds, obviously settle everything with St Johnstone. Now it's time to move back in. He's got a good CV, and I think maybe circumstances just went against him. I thought they pulled the trigger too early on Callum. I hope he has success, whatever job he gets into.
I think it was always where they want to go down the road of a really experienced manager to keep them in the division with Craig Levein. Fair enough, because I don't think they're going to go younger again because they went with Stephen McLean. So I think the next one was always going to be experienced, but there's not really a lot of people out there, Peter, a lot of candidates who would take that job, in my opinion, with maybe the pedigree that Craig Levein's got and the experience he's got, so maybe it could be a good fit for him. Yeah, interesting to see how he sets that team up when he gets back in there, how they're going to play. Oh, I was going to say. By the way, Stevie May and the boy Kane they'll be devastated. Nicky Clark. Yeah. None of us are going to play. Well, that's exactly. Six midfielders. Honestly, you took the words right out of my mouth. I'm thinking to myself, there you go, just get yourselves a move, lads, because it's a 4-6-0. I'm being slightly facetious towards Craig because he actually has a lot to offer as a manager. There were good times as well, but nevertheless, I think there's a stigma attached to him at times, which is somewhat unfair. Let's see if he does indeed get the job. Of course, we talked about the fact that there's a semi-final to look forward to, Aberdeen against Hibs. We're going to talk about it in greater detail. Thankfully, out there at Hampden, Adam Binney is getting ready to watch it. And it's such a tough one to call, Adam.
It is indeed, Peter, but this is what it's all about. Semi-final, National Stadium, 50-50 fans, but you can already sense the atmosphere around this place, the fans getting so excited ahead of kick-off. And interestingly, I've just been speaking to both fans for a little piece that will be going out on our social media channels later. Both sets of fans are pessimistic about this one. If you look at the recent form, Hibs winless in their last 5. Aberdeen have only had 1 win in their last 5. That coming midweek against Motherwell. Both sides scarred by constant defeats, it seems, here at Hampden in the past. So a surprising pessimism around them when I thought, with Celtic, the obvious favourites to win this competition again, now knocked out of the competition, I really felt like everyone would think, this is going to be our year, this is our best chance to win the competition. But I think the recent form of both sides have caused their fans to go straight back into Scottish football fan mode and assume the worst is going to happen.
Of course, the worst is going to happen on the evidence of the last few weeks. Quite simply, it's been erratic at times, certainly Aberdeen. I think coming off that European result has certainly knocked the stuffing out of them. But thankfully for Barry Robson, they got back on track against Motherwell and seem to be in better fettle going into this one. Of course, they've got more than a few danger men there that can cause problems for Hibs.
Yeah, they do. They have some exciting players in attacking areas, but I'm surprised to see that Duke's been left on the bench today. Leighton Clarkson comes back in, which I'm pleased about. I went to watch Aberdeen last Sunday against Kilmarnock. Thought they were absolutely crying out for someone like Leighton Clarkson in the middle of the park. They had no creativity whatsoever. So to have him back is a big boost. I think he should always play for Aberdeen when he's fit and when he's available. But Duke on the bench is a surprise. I know he's not quite hit the heights this season as he did last year. There's always goals in Miovski, but I just think when you've got someone like Duke that likes to run in behind, likes to go and chase lost causes, is always a danger for defences. Always think he would naturally make a defence drop off another 10, 20 yards from their standard starting position just because of the pace he has. So maybe a slightly more negative approach from Barry Robson. He's quite often left Duke out of the European games, you see that. So I think it's more of a kind of defensive lineup, if you like. But there are plenty of players that can hurt Hibs in there. Hibs need to tighten up at the back. I watched them on Wednesday night play against Ross County, and my God, going 2-0 up, you would think they have to go and win this game, but some of the defending in that final 20-25 minutes was just simply not good enough for this level. So they need to show it up at the back. The reason I think, Peter, that I think Hibs are going to edge this one is because I think they have difference makers on their side. Guys like Ellie Ewan, guys like Martin Boyle. I think these are the guys that can win you football matches on their own. They've got that bit of magic where they can create chances out of nothing. And I think in a really tight game when two teams are up against each other and not playing so well, I think that'll be the fine margins. And someone like a Boyle or a Ewan will produce that moment of magic that could win Hibs this game and get them into a final.
I can understand on that. And with that in mind, though, you mentioned that slightly cautious look to the Aberdeen side. But nevertheless, if they are going to be looking for someone to step up, it has to be Miovski, Adam. He's been the man that looks as if he's capable of scoring. He is a menace. He's got that technical ability, and around about the box, he can find the net.
Yeah, Miovski is the obvious person that you would look to for goals in this Aberdeen team. But I'll just go back to that point I made about Duke not starting. I think it might leave Miovski a little bit isolated up there. For how great a player he is, wonderful left foot, great finisher, causes havoc, can hold the ball up. He's not blessed with lots of pace, which is why I think that partnership that was so deadly last season of Duke and Miovski worked so well, because you could have one shot to come and get the ball at feet and turn defenders, and then one go in behind. So it keeps the defence guessing. I think maybe without that element in their attack, Miovski might become a little bit one-dimensional, and that could help and go in the favour of Hibs and isolate him. But again, he is the type of player that can produce a bit of magic, whether that's in the box, outside the box, left foot or with his head. Miovski, if Aberdeen are going to win this game, he's going to be the man.
Yeah, thanks to who'll keep us up to date with exactly what's happening in that Viaplay League Cup semi-final. What do you make of the teams, Tom?
Yeah, I've seen the Hibs team. There's no surprises for me. Rocky comes back. Rocky's into the team. Abita, he made a couple of changes during the week. Dylan Levitt comes in. Obviously, Jegel's out. So no, there's not a lot of surprises in that Hibs team. David Marshall obviously come back in. I think Wallacott was in goal. So I'm looking at them and I'm thinking probably 4-4-2. I don't know if he'll play Boyle through the middle. In my opinion, I would. You seen it a couple of seasons ago when he played against Rangers through the middle. He scored a hat-trick. He will cause Aberdeen problems. So whether they play him through the middle and maybe play somebody else wide, I'm not so sure. But it looks as if it's going to be a 4-4-2 for Hibs, which is Pretty attacking.
Yeah, both managers getting ready for this when those last words. They'll have prepared all week, both Barry Robson and Nick Montgomery, for the game. They'll have been giving each of the players the message on what's expected of them, where they play in this formation and how they set about the opposition. So the both managers now will probably be in that dressing room just offering those last little moments of clarity on the way ahead. Yesterday they offered their own thoughts on how this game is going to go.
And we've found that, especially with my players, they've been when there's been a big occasion, obviously a lot of big games in Europe and that, they've performed well, so they've been handling that well, and I expect them to be handling that tomorrow again.
You just got to stick to the game plan, and obviously we've analysed Aberdeen. We know what to expect, but also we have to concentrate on ourselves and continue to improve. But it's a semi-final. It's a game. You have to win on the day. So yeah, we'll be fully focused on whatever we can do to get to that final. And
well, both new managers as far as the Scottish Premiership is concerned, but I think Nick Montgomery's made a more positive start this season, albeit Barry finished last season really well. There's been a few stutters along the way for Aberdeen, and I think he's going to need a wee bit more time to get his team in order for the Aberdeen fans to really warm to him again. But Nick Montgomery, the Hibs fans, seem happy with him. Yeah,
they are. I think he's come in and he's been pretty attacking, Peter, and it was a breath of fresh air, having a structure and playing 4-4-2 to the previous manager, who was all over the place. He would play 3 at the back one week, 4 at the back, 3 up front, 1 up front, 2. There was no continuity in team selection or tactics, and I think with Nick Montgomery, he's pretty clear that he's going to play 4-4-2. That's his preferred, formation to play. He stuck with it today. I think he'll play Jair Tavares on one wing, and Johan in the other wing, and I think he'll play Venti and Boyle through the middle. And both Venti and Boyle are quick, and that could cause Aberdeen problems. I don't think Aberdeen are particularly quick at the back. So I think Boyle through the middle could be a masterstroke for Hibs, but Majowski at the other end. Hibs have been poor at the back, apart from that Celtic game where they kept a clean sheet. They've looked dodgy at the back all season, to be honest, and Majowski will be a danger for Aberdeen. He'll fancy himself against that Hibs back too as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Tavares. He scored a belter.
He scored a great goal. Peter came in from Siberia, to be honest. I think a lot of Hibs supporters would have been happy to see the back of him. He came in on a 5-year deal from Benfica with a massive reputation. And he just hadn't done anything really, to be honest with you. But Nick Montgomery's come in, seen something in him. I think his assistant is Portuguese, so I think that's helped. He's supposedly, I've not been at the game, but he's been shouting instructions in Portuguese to him on the pitch. He's been helping him. So I don't know. He's gave him a lift anyway. Maybe the manager's put an arm around him and says, "Listen, you're part of the plans." So he's came in. He's shown great faith in him again today. He's playing him. He's starting him at Hampden. And, fair play to him, he's fought back, he's not chucked it, he's not down tools, he's kept working away and he's got his opportunity. He took it during the week against Ross County, great goal, and he'll be looking to cause Aberdeen problems again down that right-hand side.
Arbroath 0, Partick Thistle 2, Aidan Fitzpatrick scoring the goal. Thistle should be there or thereabouts this season.
They should be, Peter. I think that Dundee United are going to win the league, in my opinion. I think they're too strong, they've got the biggest budget in the league and the biggest squad. The Race Rovers are the only club probably that's going to run them close, but outside of that, Partick Thistle, you would think Ayr United possibly.
Did you see the Ayr United new stand going up midweek?
Brilliant.
It's good, looks great, eh?
It looks great, Peter. I played there twice, 2 different spells at Ayr United, and I don't think it had changed since Ruffy was playing, since when I was playing. So it's a traditional old ground, but it needed upgrading, Peter. I mean, I know people like to see traditional old ground terracing and stuff like that, but when it was raining down there and windy, you were getting soaked in that far side. There was no cover, so people used to move behind the goal. When United were shooting down that way, everybody would move down. So it was a blast for the past. But I think now United, they've got new money, fresh investment, new chairman, and they're looking to do it up. They've built a lovely bar at the stadium as well. And they're doing up all the facilities, they're doing up the hospitality, so there's a lot of money going in behind the scenes at Ayr United, and that's just, hopefully, it shows on the pitch with the team.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a time, and I know some people of a certain generation might be amazed that there was a time where actually at half-time some fans would, as you say, walk around to the other
way
end, past other supporters, just to get to a better angle. If your team was shooting into that goal, you would go behind that goal. I mean, there are some cases where it was a really, really busy match. You'd never walk that way if it was an Old Firm game. You'd just stay where you were and be happy with the view you've got. In the English Premier League, it finished Fulham 0, Manchester United 1. Left it late, United, but Eric Ten Hag still, when you lose 5 games in the Premier League, I think a lot of people are asking questions of United, and one result will not turn it around. He needs to do it consistently, and so do some of the players. Elsewhere in the games that are still ongoing as we approach the hour and beyond, Brentford 2, West Ham 2, Burnley 0, Crystal Palace 1, Everton 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Manchester City 3, Bournemouth 0, and Sheffield United and Wolverhampton Wanderers 0-0 in that game. And I can tell you Manchester City are now 4-0 up, and Phil Foden has the goal, and City on easy street with that one. As far as Everton are concerned, I mean, if they get a 12-point deduction, their only saving grace is Sheffield United are ranked rotten. But they'll still... I mean, I hope that does not happen to Everton. I really want to see them stay in the division.
Yeah, because I think they move into a new stadium, Peter, is it next season?
Next season.
So they need to win the Premier League. That is going to cripple them if they're not. They're actually picking up some decent results at the minute. They're playing well. I've seen them against West Ham last week, 1-0. Great result. You know, so and they're obviously winning again today. So they're picking up results now. I think Sean Dyche is starting to see the fruits of his labour in terms of the training pitch and the formation and how he wants them to play. And obviously come in and kept him up last season when he took over from Lampard, and this season, they've started pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. There's only one game in the Scottish Premiership this afternoon, and that is Kilmarnock 1, Motherwell 0. And it's Cameron getting his first goal in a long while for Killie, but nevertheless, it's a crucial one. Kilmarnock at times, Kilmarnock are one of those teams you just wouldn't put a tenner on them at the bookies, would you?
You wouldn't away from home, Peter.
Yeah.
You're living in a cardboard box.
Yeah.
I think they've won 4 games out of 40 under Derek McInnes. But at home, I think you'd be in profit, because at home they're pretty strong.
Yeah.
I think the AstroTurf's a big factor, and it's a big advantage for teams. I remember Hamilton Accies when they won the championship, were unbeaten at home. Away to Dunfermline. Remember Dunfermline got that AstroTurf?
Yeah, absolutely.
They were unbeaten. It's a real Livingston. I think it's difficult for teams to go away from home. I think if you're playing and training on that every day, you surely have an advantage of other teams and players that are training on it once a week before they play. So everybody trains in grass. So if you're training and playing on AstroTurf, you've got to have a big advantage when you come up against teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite a lot of people thought Motherwell would maybe get an equaliser, but I think
Niall Kane he'll be hoping to get an equaliser.
Yeah, he's a big Motherwell fan, but it's still 1-0 to Killie at the moment. We'll keep you up to date if there's any equaliser in that game. Of course, both sets of fans will be heading to Hampden. Never an easy time for fans asking them to put their hands in their pockets for a long journey, especially for the Dons fans who have to set out early to get there to Hampden for Aberdeen against Hibs. Some people think it should be that neutral venue. I'm not going to go down that road, because Hampden is the venue where some people really like to go for the day out. I mean, that's the great joy of it all. I mean, for Aberdeen fans to make their way to the National Stadium, it's fantastic, especially there's nothing better than going on that long journey, and if you're heading back up the road after a win, even better.
You're right, Peter, it's a day out. I think a lot of Aberdeen fans have come down the buses, supporters' buses. I was going to say maybe a wee drink in the bus, but you're not allowed to drink in the bus. No. Don't say that. Yeah. It's a day out, and it's a wee day out with families and all that as well. And as I said, I think it's better that it's no Old Firm involved. You go and you've got a chance. It's a 50-50 game. If you're going to play against Celtic in particular, you're thinking we've not really got much of an opportunity today. Celtic rarely lose games at Hampden against any team actually. So I think if you're coming down with an opportunity, and Hibs coming through for Edinburgh, you're coming down, maybe come through early and go to a pub. I dropped two of my mates off at the Beechwood across for Hampden. Yeah. 2 Hibs supporters. They were in there early doors of the day, and there was loads of Hibs fans milling about outside. So it's a day out, go and have a few drinks, and hopefully your team wins and you can have a good night. Yeah, and of course, let's not forget that the Sunday will bring us at 3 o'clock at Hampden Park will be Rangers against Hearts. Our man Adam Binney gives us a little insight into the build-up to that one.
Hearts and Rangers will contest the second Viaplay Cup semi-final of the weekend when they face off at Hampden on Sunday. Philippe Clement has only been in the job a matter of weeks, but this weekend presents the perfect opportunity for him to get his side into a national final and potentially claim the first domestic trophy of the season. But for the new boss, that's not something he's thinking about just yet.
It's just focusing on the game and not to think about silver work and how many games to get a trophy or whatever. It's focusing for the players on the tasks they need to do, in their position, what they need to do together, with the ball and without the ball, and putting all our energy into that.
Stephen Naismith, on the other hand, has plenty of Hampden experience. Hearts became perennial nearly men in cup competitions when he was at the club as a player. But now, in the dugout, Naismith is hoping to achieve as a manager what he failed to do as a player.
We're fortunate that we've got a few within the squad that have been in a few semi-finals and finals, which has been good. But I think the collective for myself and everybody at Hearts has been the hard luck story of being so close and not making. I think my time at the club, we've consistently been in semi-finals and finals, but yet not won one yet.
So who will come out on top on Sunday and claim their spot at Hampden for the final on December 17th? Will it be Hearts or Rangers?
Yeah, big question on this one. I thought maybe a couple of weeks ago, Hearts, Aberdeen and Hibs might have thought to themselves, oof, right chance of silverware here. I'm not discounting the possibility of it because there is always that outside chance. But I think suddenly Rangers look as if they're in a better place.
No, I think they're definitely in a better place, Peter. I think the supporters in a better place as well. There's a lot of depression amongst Rangers supporters under Michael Beale. The way they started the season, I think they lost 3 of the first 7 games, which is a horrendous start of the season for Rangers. They had to make the change, they made the change, and Philippe Clement's come in and he looks as if he's demanding more from the players. I think that he's talking about fitness. Listen, every manager comes in and says the previous set of players weren't fit enough. It's just a standard question and answer at a press conference. I'm wanting the players to be fitter, but they seem to be fitter. And I've seen them against Dundee during the week there. Relentless, pressing. Scored 5, could have scored 6 or 7. I thought away in Sparta Prague, I thought they grew into the game. I thought they finished the game stronger. I thought they looked fitter than Sparta Prague towards the end of the game. So slowly but surely, he's getting his ideas across. And I think they've started really, really impressively. I think they've only lost 1 goal under him, and that was Shankland's header. Yeah. In 4 or 5 games. He's keeping clean sheets, which was a problem under Beale. So you're right. I think 4 or 5 weeks ago, when Beale was there and they were struggling, you would think, don't fancy Rangers, but you would now have them as heavy favourites to win this cup.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, that Philippe Clement impact is there for all to see. The captain, James Tavernier, has acknowledged it.
Obviously, can't go into too much. Obviously, it's tactical stuff, but yeah, he's just put his own imprint on it, and he's raised the standards higher, the demand higher. And obviously, he wants the team to be fit, and we're training really hard. So yeah, he's put his own stamp, and we're all responding really well.
Well, I think that speaks volumes about what was happening with the previous manager.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for Michael Beale, to be honest, when the captain's coming out and saying he's come in and he's raised standards and they've improved. I think he mentioned something the other day that was interesting about the cryo chamber. I didn't know Rangers had one. I don't know if it's at the training ground or at Ibrox. Yeah. It's probably at the training ground. That nobody was using it. So they're now all going in there after games and getting the cold treatment to repair their muscles and be ready for the next game. So I think that Philippe Clement is a complete professional. I think he was that. I didn't really know him as a player, but from what I'm hearing, he's a complete professional as a player, looked after himself. I think he's the same as a manager. He's going to come in and he's going to get that Rangers team fitter and stronger and more organised. And that should happen anyway. But there is managers who I've worked under as well. You just raise the standard and want more demands. And I think he's definitely got more demands than Michael Beale had. Yeah, just on that point, are we? Have you ever been in a cryo chamber? I have actually. Yeah. We had one when I was playing. Obviously, I played in America, as you know, and we had one in Colorado. And we used to get in it after the games and after training, and it was a nightmare. It was only in for a couple of minutes, Peter, but it was minus, I don't know what it was, 200 or whatever, and you went in and it was just freezing. But it repaired all your muscles and it got you ready for the next game. It's probably equivalent to getting into ice baths and stuff like that. It's just the cold water, it helps your muscles heal. So It's interesting. I didn't know Rangers had one, but obviously they weren't using it under Michael Beale, or they were using it sparingly.
Yeah.
And it's no cheap to run. It's expensive to run, expensive to buy. So it looks as if Philip Clement's got them on there after training, after games to prepare for the next game.
Yep, fine margins can get you the result you're looking for. Talking of margins, it's a fair one for Partick Thistle now. They're 3-0 up against Arbroath up there at Gayfield. And Brian Graham scored the goal. He's doing well because not only does Brian have to concentrate in scoring goals for Partick Thistle, he's the manager of the women's team.
Yep, busy man. As I said, he's a manager as well and playing. So yeah, I think Brian's always been a very good striker. I think he kind of bounced around in the Championship.
Didn't quite work out for him at Hibs.
No, he went to Hibs and it didn't. I think Hibs won the Championship at the time. Didn't quite work out for him there. I think Neil had him. I think Lenny had him at Hibs. The demands at Hibs are huge. It's probably the biggest club he's played for. But he certainly found his home at Partick Thistle. He's captain there, and he scores some great goals as well. He's good in the air, good finisher, and I'm not surprised to hear he's back on the score sheet.
Yeah, what a turnaround in that match between Brentford and West Ham. Brentford 3, West Ham 2. Burnley 0, Crystal Palace 1. Everton still a goal up in Brighton and Hove Albion. It's Man City 4, Bournemouth 0. And Sheffield United now a goal up on Wolverhampton Wanderers. What a turnaround that is for him. By the way, the Sheffield United fans won't know what to do when there's a goal to celebrate, because they've been on that many hidings. It's not true.
Yep, and I think this was probably one you're looking at the start of the season and going, right, this is an opportunity for us. I think they've had some hard fixtures. I think they were at Arsenal last week and got hammered 5-0. Wolves at home. Wolves will be bottom half of the table. You're thinking, right, we can go and get a result today, and hopefully they can hold on to that, because I'd like to see the teams coming up and doing better than they have. I think Burnley are struggling as well. Luton look as if they're straight back down. And if the three teams that come up just go straight back down again, you'd want to see some of them maybe staying up and consolidating.
Yeah, Paul Brady says, PLZ bingo, that's Tam, played in America, ticked off. Well done, Tam. Absolutely fantastic. You're absolutely right, Paul. It's always guaranteed. There are some things that are just nice. It's like a comfort blanket, knowing that Tam played in America, and he always mentions it. It's a bit like PLZ bingo with me, with the five-a-sides at the moment, cuffed every week. Every time I have Lee McCulloch in my side, we get absolutely battered. So I think there is a need for me to make sure I'm not on his side. Des Halliday says, hi Peter, I missed the daily shows through the week. Well, Des, to be honest with you, the good thing about it is we're giving you a wee bit more variety now, because there's lots more coming up, and I think a lot of exciting stuff that will change on PLZ Soccer over the coming months. We did promise a change in the programming, because at times we did change it, Tam, because we thought it was just getting a bit repetitive.
It was difficult, because especially if you were doing a Saturday show, you were on every day.
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday and Ruffy, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's only so much happening in Scottish football.
Well, exactly.
It was tough at times to...
And by the way...
kind of talking about the same stuff.
It is a mental country, and it does come up with some absolute belters. But even 5 days, 6 days a week, we were absolutely... sometimes I thought I was trying to actually just pick an argument with you just for the sake of it. So, Des, the other thing I was going to say to you is... the variety that we're offering now, I mean, you've got the football show we've signed Neil Lennon and Lee McCulloch to the team. We've added some strength. You've
added two good players, Peter.
Yep.
And hopefully that's not me phased out. But, obviously you like to bring in bigger names to put pressure on me, to keep me up to my game.
Well, absolutely. We're building the team around you, Tam, because it looked weak.
Said no one ever. Said no one never.
So you're there with Ruffy, you're our linchpins, and then we just keep adding that little... It's a Sir Alex Ferguson mode. I like the spine to be good, but I need a wee sprinkling of quality there. And those two have certainly galvanised it. And of course, it makes the Christmas party even better to think about, Tam. There's 20 of us now.
We're going into Glasgow, and Neil Lennon and Lee McCulloch are there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking Neil Lennon or Barry Ferguson, who's hated more?
I would give you Neil Lennon, sadly, because of the nature of it. Although we had a ring of steel around Barry when we were with him, but Neil is absolutely brilliant. I mean, listen, you only have to get to know him. I mean, I'm lucky enough to say he's one of my friends, but coming on board and amazingly, Lee and I grew up. He was sounds as if I'm really old, but
from Motherwell?
he's from Motherwell, and he was great pals with my nephew, and then we just got to know each other when he was at Motherwell, and formed a really good, strong friendship over the years. So the two of them are, it's not a case of me picking my mates. Just the opportunity came to add them in, Des, and we've added them in. But also, I think the good thing you'll notice, Des, is not only have we got the Monday and Friday football show, which is going down a storm. The Journos show is great because we bring in different journalists every week, and we just basically fight and argue with each other, which is great, about all topics other than Scottish football, but throw in a wee bit of the Scottish game as well. And then there's the women's football show, and I've started a new show called Straight Talk. We've had Aidan McGeady on it. We've had James Grant from Love and Money. Last week we had the lead singer Graham Skinner of Hipsway, which was great. Billy Sloan. If you get a chance to watch Billy Sloan, it is just a trip down memory lane of the greats that he's interviewed from the rock and roll. It's just brilliant. Billy Sloan. Have you ever been in Billy's company?
I have actually, a couple of times.
He's just a great lad.
Interesting guy. He's as I say, the interview, the people he's interviewed and spent time with.
Absolutely.
Biggest names in pop.
I don't think anybody we've ever had on the show has interviewed Grace Jones in a bubble bath. I mean, that takes some doing, by the way. Billy wasn't in the bath with Grace, but she was there, and the bubbles were disappearing quickly as he was interviewing her. And I think Billy made it a 2.5-hour interview just to make sure the bubbles had all gone. But it's a brilliant interview with Billy Sloan. Sanjeev Kohli as well was just a barrel of laughs. And this week, I'm really looking forward to our Straight Talk this week, because Karen Dunbar is my guest on Straight Talk. So she the only reason I might as well tell you right now. The granny. Yes, right. No, the two boys with the ice cream, the ice cream van has got to be mentioned. And she said to me, the only reason I'm coming on, can I swear? I went, you can swear. I'm on, so that's fine. Right. So there could be more than a few bleeps joining us for that one. So that's well worth watching. Straight Talk, women's football show, the football show itself, the journos, and of course, not only that, we've got a few documentaries coming up, and breaking news, our team, Patrick Mullen, Adam Binney, Kerry Pollock, Alison McConnell. We've just got such a good, strong team now. I can't believe we've got 20.
Of youth and experience here.
Yeah, I can't believe we've got 20 at a party now, all the staff that are going. It's 20, it's getting bigger every year.
Tab up?
Hey, I am picking the tab up. Yeah, absolutely. I always do, every year.
On the side of the couch here for the money?
I always pick the tab up, to be perfectly honest with you. That's the great thing about it, isn't it? And somebody's just said, Neeps says Giza Swatchy, yep, Neeps. That's exactly, everybody, all my mates have said to us, that's the first question you've got to ask. And I went, I don't think I'm going to get away with it. But it's just certainly one of our best sketches. Neeps, you're right on my mind with that one. That's exactly what I was thinking about. Anyway, football is the agenda on a Saturday afternoon. And every Saturday, Tam and I like to shoot the breeze before Tam goes out to earn colossal amounts of money elsewhere. Have you changed your set? Have you made it more entertaining? Have you added new bits?
I have. I'm slowly but surely just adding wee bits.
Are you adding wee bits on? That's really, really good.
I think it stops it becoming boring.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well, so,
don't tell me the new bits you've added on. I'm really looking forward to actually going and hearing, because Ruffy's had a set that he has since 1986 and he's sticking to it. I can actually tell when he's taking a breath in his after dinner stuff, but he's actually top drawer. The two of you are right good listen, and the two of you are starting to hang about with each other a little bit more as well on the after dinner, and kind of a cutting me out of the whole thing, to be honest with you, but that's what happens. Ross County 0, Celtic 3 was the score from earlier on today. Celtic with a good win ahead of the match against Atletico Madrid on Tuesday. We'll be previewing that game on Monday's football show. Lee McCulloch will be with us on Monday, Tam, because Neil's shooting off, I think, to cover the Champions League. So we've got Lee, certainly not a step down. He'll be in to look ahead to all the big games coming up in European competition, because we like to cover the European matches as well.
Yeah, listen, obviously Celtic Rangers in there, Aberdeen in there. It's been great. Hopefully we can get somebody in Europe after Christmas. I think it would be great if we can get somebody in there after Christmas. Rangers look as if they could qualify from that group. Celtic, it looks a tough task for Aberdeen, so it might be just Rangers possibly after Christmas who we're going to be in European action. But it's great for us, great for Scottish football, great for us to talk about European games, and great for Scottish football and the coefficient that if we can stay in there as long as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. We like covering these games, but of course the other thing about it is it's been tough for Aberdeen, especially after that 3-2 loss. It looked as if against PAOK, it looked as if they were going to 2-0 up. You've got to shut up shop, Tom.
Yeah, that's disappointing for Aberdeen. I thought Barry got his tactics spot on for maybe an hour, and then PAOK made some changes. They got a little bit of lift. They got the goal back, and then all of a sudden you could see the confidence just draining out Aberdeen. You know, from looking as if they were comfortable at 2-0, that goal changed everything. And then they should have had a penalty. Let's be honest. I think they should have had a penalty at 2-1. I think if they score that 3-1, they don't come back from that. But to lose the way they did, it was literally the last kick of the ball. Rubizic dived in and gave the penalty away. It was a heartbreaker for Aberdeen, and then they lost again to Kilmarnock. But it's a tough game. It's a tough game away in Greece. Even at this time of year, it'll still be pretty warm. So I don't see them getting out of this group. I don't see them getting out of that game. But they've only got themselves to blame, Peter, because they should have beat Helsinki at home, and they should have got at least a draw against PAOK.
Yeah, November 9th at 5:45. Unusual time. It's an early kick-off for that one against PAOK. Yeah, so we'll need to keep our eye on it and see exactly how they fare. And of course, with Rangers as well, we'll be cutting. Yep, we'll be cutting across that. Really looking forward to Rangers, and I think
if they win that, Peter, they'll go through.
Well, I was going to say to you, that group is absolutely on a knife edge, and if Rangers can get that win, I think that'll lift the stadium, it'll lift the fans. They don't need to buy into Philippe Clement. He's got his time to try and build a team that's his. We've been there before with Rangers managers of the past. If he can get a good result here, I think it sets them up nicely in that group.
Yeah, I think they'll go through, Peter. I think that Betis will beat Limassol at home. They beat them away from home in the last game. And I think that'll be the top two, but I think it's out of Sparta Prague and Rangers for second place. And if Rangers can win, I think they're both in 4 points. If Rangers can win, they go up to 7 points, and they've got Aris at home. You know, I think they'll beat them at home as well. I think they'll be a wee bit of rivalry there. Obviously, Rangers getting beat off them, but I think they'll take care of them at home. So 2 home wins for Rangers should see them through. Yeah,
absolutely. Fingers crossed they can do that. We like to support Scottish teams in Europe, and of course, as you heard from Brendan Rodgers earlier, with that 3-0 win, it's a good win ahead of the journey to Madrid. And of course, some of the fringe players might be able to just give the manager a few problems on the decision of who he's going to select. He'll definitely select Lewis Palmer because he scored an absolute cracker today. And what a record for James Forrest. He's now scored in 15 consecutive seasons. Tam, it's absolutely unbelievable what he's achieved with that. I mean, I think only three players. I can think of one other that's achieved that. I can't think of the third one, but I can certainly think of Ryan Giggs. I think scored in 16 consecutive seasons, and he was just phenomenal. For James to have scored it in 15, I think he deserves tremendous credit.
Yeah, he does, Peter. And listen, I don't understand the stick he gets from certain Celtic supporters about his contribution. I think his contribution over the whole at Celtic has been incredible. I think the amount of trophies he's won, medals, will be up there with the very best at Celtic. He's a one-club man. He's had opportunities probably to go elsewhere. At his peak, James was very, very good and highly rated. And he could have went anywhere in England. He wanted to stay at Celtic, and I think he's been brilliant for them. And to score that amount of goals for Celtic, to have that longevity in terms of playing under several managers, has been incredible for him. So no, I think he'll go down in the folklore for Celtic.
Yep, absolutely. I think he's played his part and certainly etched himself into the history books. As far as Celtic are concerned, it was a 3-0 win over 10 men of Ross County. James Brown was sent off it was a bad tackle on Yang, and once VAR had a look at it again, the referee forced to go over there and then eventually changed his mind from a yellow to a red card. Off he went, and then Ross County were really up against it. Elsewhere at Rugby Park this afternoon, Kilmarnock, Innes Cameron has scored the only goal so far. We're into the latter part of that game, just about 5 minutes plus any additional injury time. It looks as if Kilmarnock are going to scrape through and get the 3 points.
Yep, if they hold on, it'd be a great result, Peter. I think that a lot is tipped Kilmarnock to win because of their home form. Motherwell You know, they've came back in recent weeks. They came back against Ross County and got a point, and they'll need to leave it late today to get something out of the game. But Kilmarnock's good home record looks to continue today, and Motherwell's dreadful record of recent times is continuing as well. I think they'll be 7 or 8 games without a win.
Yeah, I'm gutted for Everton. Ashley Young has scored an own goal, 1-1 against Brighton. That
would have been a great result for them.
Oh, fantastic. They needed the points.
Yeah, they do, but listen, there's still time to get a winner, but that would have been a great 3 points. Brighton are going well at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Brentford 3-2 up in West Ham. Incidentally, Manchester United scored a late winner against Fulham, 1-0 the score there at Craven Cottage. Burnley 0, Crystal Palace 1. The old man Roy Hodgson still going strong and still pulling out results. I mentioned Everton 1-1 with Brighton. Man City 5, Bournemouth 1. Sheffield United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. And as I look at Manchester City, and I can tell you Wolves have just scored to equalise against Sheffield United.
That'd be a signal for them. I think that was a game that they had to win. Paul Heckingbottom probably had to win as well. I think he might get his P45 tonight.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Tonight? I think they'll stick with him because I think they know where they're going.
If that's the plan, it's just to come up for one season and pocket the money and go back down, then fine.
Yeah. I don't think they were strong enough, Tam.
No, they Luton and Burnley, none of them have really spent money.
No.
It looks as if they're just, we'll get 100 and 150 million for coming up. We'll just get the parachute payment, come back down, and we'll just chill out.
Yeah.
They've spent a lot of money, and they've stayed loyal with the players that got them there, which is fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think if you're going to come up and compete at the higher level in the Premier League, then you've got to invest in your squad, and they haven't done that.
Yeah. Thank God that Tam isn't the PR man for Sheffield United. We'll just take the money and then head back down again. He's just summed it up.
Norwich done it for years, Peter.
Yeah.
Norwich were a yo-yo club.
Yeah.
Just come up and pocket the money back down, up, back down.
Goal for Queen's Park, A United 2, Queen's Park 2. That's in the Championship. Rory Payton has scored in the 95th minute there. It's Arbroath 1, Partick Thistle 3. Dundee United 1-1 with Inverness Caledonian Thistle. It's 1-1 between Wraith Rovers and Airdrieonians as well, Tam.
Yeah, that's disappointing for Ian Murray and Wraith. They could have went top of the league with a win.
The only team who's benefited today is Partick Thistle. Everyone else is drawing.
Yep, Dundee United, you'd have thought, would have won at home to Inverness. But Big Dunk's certainly getting a tune out of the players up there. They looked as if they'd down tools under Billy Dodds, but he's getting a tune out of them now, and that would be a great point for him away at Tannadice. Yeah,
Scottish League 1, Annan 2, Kelty 2, Cove Rangers 1, Hamilton Accies 0, Edinburgh City 1, Montrose 5. What a spanking that is for Edinburgh. Queen of the South 1, Falkirk 1, and Stirling Albion 0, Alloa Athletic 2. In Scottish League 2, it's Clyde 1, Spartans 2, Dumbarton 4. Bonnie Rig Rose 0. Hasn't gone well for Bonnie Rig Rose since you and I were through there for a testimonial. By the way, I was through for another testimonial at Bonnie Rig again, different player. I think they're still playing all the testimonial players. That might be the problem. 4-1, Stenhousemuir 3, Peterhead 2, East Fife 0, and Stranraer 3, Elgin City 1. And the only game in the Scottish Premiership at the moment live is Kilmarnock 1, Motherwell 0, so they're holding on. And we've got to look forward to the games kicking off later on this evening, the Viaplay League Cup semi-final between Aberdeen and Hibernian. Did you give your prediction yesterday?
2-1 to Hibs, Peter.
Of course you did, of course. You, Lee and Ruffy all going for the Hibs.
But as I said yesterday, Peter, I don't think any result would surprise me. It's a very, very open game. It's a 50-50 game. And whoever turns up on the day and plays well will obviously win the game. But neither team's going into it in great form. You know, they're up and down, particularly with Aberdeen in Europe. But Hibs 5 games without a win as well, so it's difficult to predict. But I just think Hibs with Boyle through the middle, the pace of Boyle, I think that might just edge it for Hibs.
Yep, I'm going for Aberdeen.
Anyway.
Yeah, I know you do. I'm going. I don't really have a stake in this one. I'm going for Aberdeen to win it. I just think
you hate Hibs. You like Hearts.
No, I like the high Bs. I've got a lot of heavy mates. They just haven't come out to defend me of late. I've just been getting it in the neck. But that's what happens if you offer an opinion. If you could from time to time, Tam, might be helpful. But the Hibs fans are not. They're not in my camp at the moment. I'm going for Aberdeen because I think Miofsky is well capable of producing a wee bit of magic on that Hampden Park. And of course, Neep says the media didn't have hype Burnley and Vincent Kompany up before the season started. They actually do play some really good football, Burnley.
Mini Pep.
Yeah, but they do play really good football. The biggest problem, I think, to be perfectly honest with you, as I look at them all there, if I'm looking at the sides that are down, there are 4 teams who are battling to avoid relegation. 3 of them go down: Sheffield United, Burnley, Luton and Bournemouth. I'm going to stick my neck out and say he might, between him and Bournemouth, I think Vincent Kompany's got the battle to make it by the skin of their teeth, and I'm going to stick with Burnley. By the skin of their teeth.
I think if they strengthen in January, Peter, and they bring a wee bit more quality in the top end of the pitch, they do play a lot of good football.
Yeah.
Seen them in the first game of the season. I think it was against Man City, actually. I think Man City ended up winning the game 2 or 3-0, but
yeah.
I thought Burnley played really well, but they never had that quality at the top end of the park. So, no, I think if they can invest and get maybe a striker in January, I think they could be the one. I think Luton and Sheffield United are definite. I agree with you. I think that they could maybe pip Bournemouth. Yeah,
I say that, and it's Crystal Palace who just added a second against Burnley, but it doesn't matter today because I think Crystal Palace it was in the bag. Gary Connor says, "Can you ask Tam to sing Folsom Prison Blues, because obviously you're dressed like
Gary Connor, not Gary O'Connor.
Not Gary O'Connor, who
got shivered down my spine there.
Who's in Folsom Prison." Never mind, sing Folsom. I'm only kidding you, Gary. Anyway, it's Gary Connor who says, "Look at Tam. When does he need to give that suit back? He's a wee bit overdressed for the show, isn't he?" But that's what happened. But where are you? Where are you tonight?
Cathcart somewhere.
Yeah, speaking in Cathcart, absolutely fantastic. I'm in your neck of the woods. I'm in East Kilbride.
Ballarat Hall.
Yep.
That's is that the 50 quid all you can drink one?
It is. They're all
hanging off the ceiling at about 10:30.
The reason why it's a great gig is because nobody knows what anybody's saying. I just stand up there. Honestly, you could actually nobody cares. 50 quid free drink. Not something I would advise on a night out, especially me as a toucan Dan. Tam, I wouldn't be able to.
You are a toucan Dan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Several nights out.
It's upbringing, to be perfectly honest with you. But I don't think not that I'm criticising, the boys will be there tonight. It'll be absolutely mental. Really looking forward to it. But on this show, I can tell you this week, we'll have Lee and Tam and Ruffy. Looking forward to them on the Monday. If you can join us, we release the programme at 7 o'clock on our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Come and join the football family. Lots of you are enjoying the content that we're making. Straight Talk this week, Karen Dunbar will be my guest. And I've got some belters coming up for you on Straight Talk. I know that you will enjoy some of the guests that I've got coming up. There's a few absolute belters that you're going to enjoy. Over and above that, we've got the Women's Football Show. Brian Graham, incidentally, the Partick Thistle Women's team manager, hopefully, fingers crossed, will be our guest. And then journos this week, we've got Ewan Graham is coming on. We've had all the journalists on. It's been really, really good. I think they're enjoying it.
Another week, yeah.
Well, hi, Michael, who played for the Scottish Football Writers football team. No. Sold the goals. He's the worst goalkeeper I've ever seen.
Was he, Mick? Was he?
Yeah, absolutely. No, but he's a great lad, Michael. But I'm only kidding.
Partsy's banned now. Gordon Partsy, he's not getting back on. He caused riots when he came on the last time.
On the last programme? Yeah, Partsy's coming back. Yeah, absolutely. I like Partsy.
He started fighting them too.
Absolutely. So did, by the way, Andrew H. Smith. So there you have it. It was a great noise up. Everybody's enjoying that, and certainly the Straight Talk as well. Lots of variety for everyone. So thank you very much to everyone who's responded to it and are subscribing to our YouTube channel. It's finished. Kilmarnock 1, Motherwell 0. So Kelly have just edged it, Tam.
Yep, great result. I think we said that at half time. Peter was going to take a goal or a bit of magic for someone to win the game, and Innes Cameron, fair play to him. He's not been playing much, but he gets his opportunity today with the captain going off the cell. Comes on, scores a winner. Brilliant for him. He'll be buzzing. We're getting in that dressing room tonight. Scoring the winning goal for Kilmarnock. So great result for Kelly. But for Motherwell, it's just a continuation of a really, really poor run of form at the moment.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, that is actually 6 defeats and 1 draw in the last 7 matches.
Yeah, it's a terrible run.
It's a terrible run, isn't it?
It's a terrible run, Peter, and particularly with the praise that he got towards the end of last season. Stuart Kettlewell came in after Stephen Hamill and picked that club up for its knees and got them up the table.
But they're still mid-table. One result can propel you.
But I think the expectations at Motherwell rose because he came in and done well at the end of last season. People are going, Motherwell might be in the top 6 this season. I think in terms of Motherwell and their budget, if they finish 8th or 9th, 10th, it's actually not a bad season because they're not one of the bigger players in the league.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you on that, Tam. It's something that I think the Motherwell fans will be looking at and thinking, it's time to try and turn the fortunes around. I don't think they will anyway be considering Stuart's position. I think he's doing a good job. Just needs a wee bit of rub of the green, and things can change, especially since he's got a bit of a cushion between them and the bottom end of the table. Although St Johnstone's win against Killie in midweek certainly put the cat among the pigeons. Now, I can tell you Sheffield United won, Wolves won at the moment. Man City 6-1 up on Bournemouth. It's full time. Everton 1, Brighton 1. That'll be a painful one for Sean Dyche. Burnley 0, Crystal Palace 2 is a full time result, as Fulham 0, Manchester United 1, and Brentford 3, West Ham United 2, going into the final seconds of injury time in that one as well. So it's Viaplay League Cup semi-finals to look forward to. Cut across all our social media and you'll get the up-to-date information on Aberdeen against Hibs. Adam Binney is our man. He'll be giving you a half-time report, full-time, as well as the managers' and players' reaction in the semi-final. And then tomorrow we'll be covering Rangers against Hearts as well, giving you the big build-up to that half-time and full-time too. And we'll be getting the thoughts of the managers and players from that one. Who's going to make it to the Viaplay final at Hampden Park? Who's got the chance to pick up the first piece of domestic silverware in Scotland? Who's going to make it to that final? You can give us your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share and follow us on Facebook. Hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, and you can also follow us across Twitter, TikTok and Instagram as well. Tam will be back with me on Monday alongside Lee McCulloch and Alan Ruff. Hopefully you can join us then. But the story of today, a good win for Brendan Rodgers' Celtic side up at Dingwall. 3-0 winners against Ross County. Killie get the solitary goal that gives them the 3 points against Motherwell. Worrying times for Stuart Kettlewell, without a win in the last 7, and still they have to try and turn that around. But we will reflect on that as well as the winners of the semi-finals at Hampden. Join us on Monday if you can. From Tam and myself, have a great weekend.
Well, I never will do. Yes.